So last year, Thrivent had a series where they brought in this brother. I was impressed with him. His name is Eugene Mitchell. He did a fantastic job presenting to the group his main focus in this book and in his presentation with us was closing the wealth gap, the racial wealth gap. And I found it a very fruitful discussion as he went through a lot of the different principles. And I think even if you are not in the minority group, the wisdom that he distributed in that time is something that I do believe will be fruitful and is fruitful for discussion. And so today I picked out two different things that I think that we can have a discussion about today that might be something that would be very, very helpful to you. Now, this book is Closing the Racial Wealth Gap, 7 Untold Rules for Black Prosperity and Legacy. What he gets into in this chapter is some pieces of how we can possibly get ahead. And he wants us to understand that getting ahead is not always in earning more money. It's about how you steward the things that you have, right? And so what was very interesting, I love the way he approached this because the first thing that he addresses us paying attention to and being better stewards over is health. He talks about how we can steward our health better and close the gap. Part of why he explains that health is so important is health is very important because it increases your ability to earn and it increases the lifespan of your earning. As he explained, there are some races that live almost 5 to 10 years longer than the average span of the African American group. And so as he's explaining, is these 5 to 10 years give them more earning potential, and it also gives them a larger lifespan of earning. So they're able to finish paying off the house. They're able to work 10 years longer in the business that they started. They're able to work 10 years longer and pay off the debts of the rental property that they purchased. They're able to make sure that the vehicles are paid off. They're able to make sure that their debts are paid, their loans are paid, and that they're able to start saving. And they're also, once they are able to achieve zero balance with their debt, the money that they're now able to A, save, and then B, invest, not just in themselves, because they have already done their part and lived their life, but they're able to invest in the next group, right? So they may be able to pay for their grandchildren to go to college. They may be able to pay for their grandchildren to have their first home. They may be able to give $10,000 or $20,000 for their grandchildren to seed that business or to help them to accelerate paying off the debts that they have to help them achieve financial freedom, right? They're able to be, not that you should be a cosigner, but they're able to lend their credit to help the next generation produce and to create wealth, and they're able to pass on the things that they have, right? So you have a longer time to establish yourself. You have a longer time to earn. So as you have a longer time to earn, you also have a longer time to move up the scale. So you may start off at the bottom of the scale, but as you continue working and building experience and building your skills and expanding your knowledge, you're able to demand more money, right? So you may start off in an industry making $10 an hour, but then after 10 years you're making $15 an hour, then you're making $20 an hour, then you top off at $30 an hour, then maybe you retire and you become a consultant. So you're not working full time, but you're still making the same amount of money, drawing the same type of income, but in a consultant role. This is why he says the health plays an important role in expanding in closing the wealth gap. The other thing, remember, one of the Eugene Mitchell's main focuses is life insurance, right? So he talks about the importance of life insurance, of our families having life insurance, because this life insurance helps to close the wealth gap quicker than even just earning a regular 9-to-5 or even starting your own business, and in some cases even faster than owning rental properties, right? because you can buy a policy that gives your family $500,000. Well, when you pass, if you paid off your debts, they would get a house that's worth $200,000. They'll have 2 cars or whatever you have that you can pass on to them. And then, in addition to that, they get an influx of cash of $500,000 to where they can pay off their house and then use your house as a rental property. They'll have their house paid off, and then they can pay off their student loans, and they'll still have enough money to start a business. So this life insurance is very important. So one of the other reasons why it's key for us to take care of our health, to close the wealth gap, is insurance. The better your health, the lower the rate. So you can get a $1 million life insurance policy, but if you have great health and have taken care of your temple and been a good steward with your body, you're able to get that $1 million policy. I'm not an insurance agent, so I'm just talking, but you can get that insurance policy for $30 to $40. Whereas if you have poor health or moderate or fair health, then your policy may be $50 or $75 a month, right? So you want to make sure that you take good care of your health because when you have that good health, it allows you to afford better insurance for your family. The other thing is it takes down your regular medical expenses. So you're not spending as much money on prescription drugs, which are good. There's nothing bad with those things. But over a span of time, when you look at how much we spend on prescription drugs, and we look at these different opioid addictions and stuff that occur because of the health situations we find ourselves in, we can look up over a period of time, and our prescription drugs may be taking 1 to 2% of our income. So what Eugene argues is, man, if you are taking better care of your health, then you're putting money back into your pockets, and then that money can be repurposed in investing in things and building things. And when I'm talking about investing in other things like stocks and bonds, but you can also build your own business, be an entrepreneur. You can invest in yourself with the money that you save, or you can assist the next generation in doing the things that they desire to do with the money that you're able to save with managing your health a little better. This is page 30 in the book, Closing the Racial Wealth Gap. It says, each can have negative effects on our wealth accumulation by impacting our ability to work, as well as the number of years that we're able to work, the salaries that we're able to demand, and our ability to save those earnings. I thought this was very interesting. One of the things he talks about is how your health affects your ability to earn. And he's not just talking about the amount of hours or the way you're able to perform your task. It has nothing to do with that. But in some instances, when you're hired, the person that is hiring you is also considering what they perceive your ability to produce is. So if they perceive that they may have questions about your health and say, well, this person may be not dependable because they may not be able to keep up with the pace of our company. Or maybe they can keep up with the pace of our company, but they're going to probably miss some days because they have some health concerns. Or maybe our facility is very big and they may be limited in how they're able to serve completely in our facility because of their health situation. And so because they have these concerns about the health of the person that is being interviewed, they may offer you the job, but they may offer you a lower rate because they're determining that when you come in, you're going to impact their health insurance costs this way, and you're going to impact their performance this way, or they're going to have to pay you a certain amount of sick days, or may have to give you some type of special pays or make some special accommodations to utilize your skills. And so if these things are part of what they perceive, they may pay you at a lower rate as opposed to negotiating with you to pay you the rate that you really do deserve because of your experience and because of your skill and your education level. So he says, look, you want to make sure that when people hire you and when they are working with you, that they're not even having to entertain this idea that your health might be a concern. Then also, of course, we already talked about the number of years that you're able to work. One of the things that is always discussed when you talk about investing is compound interest. So the longer you're able to contribute to that 401k, and the earlier, the more compound interest is going to be developed, right? So he's saying, hey, look, when you start at a young age and you're doing these things, they accumulate over time. Well, the same thing goes not just for the investment, but for your savings. Even if you're saving just $50 a month, you may not be drawing interest, but if you continue to save $50 a month for the next 50 years, you will have quite the savings to be able to maneuver with and to be able to impact the next generation with. So he says, look, I want you to be aware that your health is a major factor in you being able to close the wealth gap and to be able to produce a lot more than you have been able to produce in the past, okay? So he says, look, longevity is key to maximizing your earnings and to enjoying all of the days of your life. Things like eating healthy, exercising, and getting regular medical checkups have to take a priority. Now, what's interesting is that we read the manual on our cars, right? And we look and it says, look, this car needs to be checked up at 30,000 miles. You need to get a tune-up at 45,000 miles. You need to change your belts at 60,000 miles. You need to rotate your tires every 3,000 miles. You need to, change your cabin air filter or your engine, your oil every 3,000 miles or every 5,000 miles. These are things that we know need to be done. But he's saying, look, when we look at our bodies are actually the main tool that we use to earn with, right? So if you don't have a healthy body and you're not taking care of your temple, you're also damaging the longevity and your performance. So what he says is our health is very key to our wealth. So we have to make sure that we're taking time to take care of our mental health, take time to take care of our spiritual health. We need to take time to take care of our emotional health. We need to make sure that we set aside time to make sure that all of these things are done, because we need to be performing at the peak of our ability. So yeah, that means, ladies, you might need to get the mani. You might need to get the pedi every once in a while just to kind of treat yourself, do something nice, make sure that you get off your feet and you can relax. Maybe you do need every quarter to take a spa day and to invest $75 or $100 or $150, whatever you're trying to do at the spa. I don't know how deep your pockets are, but you may need to do that every once in a while to make sure that your body is able to perform at its peak performance. And you do need to take those salah days where you just say, you know what, I'm not doing anything. I'm going to rest today. I'm going to read a book and sit in my room, and I'm going to light some candles, and I'm just going to call this just a day off, and I'm going to restore myself. I'm going to replenish myself. I'm going to do the things that are relaxing to me. I don't know, maybe it's going to the gym, maybe it's going rock climbing, maybe it's riding a bike in the park. Whatever you do, he said, look, you need to make sure that you treat your body like the tool that it is, and make sure that it gets the ample amount of rest and the ample amount of care that it needs. And he says that also includes regular doctor visits. I know some of us are thinking about the copay, But what he's saying is like, look, you're thinking about that copay, but you'd rather pay that copay than to end up 2 months later having no pay. All right, y'all got me on that. So go ahead and pay the copay. Take the day, go down there for a couple of hours, work a half a day that day, get yourself looked at, checked out, get your blood work done, do all of those pleasantries so that you can make sure that you can have peace of mind and that you can catch things before they really do become an issue. So he says, look, make sure that you're doing these things. And I know I'm looking at myself like, bro, I got to do a better job with this. And I'm hoping that you look at yourself and ask yourself the same questions. Maybe you do need to look at this, or maybe you're an expert or very diligent in this area and can look around and help your brother or sister and advise them as to how they can improve their wealth and improve their financial position and improve the financial health and stability of their family by making sure that they do these things and also pass these habits on to the next generation.
We want to invite you next week to join us for part 2 of Closing the Wealth Gap with Eugene Mitchell as we look at lifestyle, dual income households, incarceration, and legal fees. Join us as we close the wealth gap together. We want to hear from you. Contact us at #PastorJDO3 or #JDO3Podcast. Thank you for joining us on Pastor JDO3, the podcast. We look forward to having great discussions with you.